Great. Welcome, Tonya. We really appreciate you joining us today. As Zach mentioned, our focus here today is to highlight how organizations are using application portfolio management as part of an initiative to transform their organization, their applications, as well as to look for ways to drive out application costs, as well as to actually grow the organization by making those strategic application investments. So that's what we'll be focusing today is an overview of some of the benefits you can achieve, as well as providing an overview of the application portfolio management solution from HP, as well as our SaaS solution for customers that are looking for an ability to have access to the system via SaaS model. So thanks again for everyone for joining today. First thing I want to do just briefly is a brief introduction to ResultsPositive. Those of you that might not be aware of our organization. We are a North America organization supporting customers in Canada and the U.S. And we are a business partner with HP, and we value the opportunity to work with them on a day-to-day basis and really helping organizations achieve value and business benefits. As you can see here, we've had tremendous growth over the last 3 years and been recognized by HP as a Partner of the Year in the strategy planning and governance space, which is what the application portfolio management solution is a part of. So over the last 8 years, we've really had a chance to get exposed to many very large organizations as well as smaller organizations to help them deal with application portfolio management needs. Next, I want to provide just a brief overview of the different practice areas and offering areas that we provide to our customers. First is their strategy planning and governance. So that's focusing on helping organizations understand goals and objectives and be able to track their overall performance, as well as managing their project portfolio solutions, how do they invest in projects, as well as how do they actually invest in their applications. Next, you see over on the left is our focus around big data, and that's focused on executive scorecards as well as business intelligence space. We actually do mobile and app development, as well as in the testing, both from a functional test perspective as well as a performance testing perspective. We assist customers in managing their operations, so managing and monitoring their applications, transaction monitoring, system availability. And then we apply all of our expertise for cloud operations, helping organizations identify their services they want to provide in the cloud from a strategic perspective all the way down to the actual monitoring of those particular cloud solutions. And then also what we'll be highlighting today is our actual SaaS solution that's provided as a cloud offering. So I want to jump right into application portfolio management. And what we see as a big opportunity here is the ability to really maximize your investments. We all know that everybody has limited funds in their organizations, but if you have visibility to your application portfolio and you're able to actually solicit input from the business community as well as the application and technology community, it gives you the insights and the information necessary to help make the right decisions to optimize your overall investments. Thereby, you'll be able to make a difference. You'll be able to highlight your expertise in the organization, help you achieve your next promotion in the organization, as well as you'll help the organization achieve their goal and objective of continuing their competitiveness in the marketplace and remaining one step ahead of the competition. So what we typically see when we look at overall costs of IT organizations, and this is a good foundation to start talking about where do I invest, what do I want to do to modernize or transform my applications, it's good to understand first and foremost what is our current cost and why should we focus on applications. So on the left-hand side here we see typical organizations and the amount of spend that they fund various initiatives from operations and support, planning, strategic activities to actual new IT investments. And typically what we see, and this is from a recent survey, when you look at operations and support, that's really where a lot of the dollars are being spent. As you can see here, over 60% of dollars are being spent there. It's important to understand where those dollars are being spent. As you can see here, the large majority of the dollars are spent on applications. So that's whether that be building the new applications or whether that be maintaining those applications. So that's why we're seeing a big trend in the marketplace as organizations are looking at application transformation initiatives. They're looking to modernize their applications and bring them to the next industry standard, whether it be Web 2.0 as a particular example. The challenge is, where do you determine where should I invest? Where should we look for opportunities to retire applications? Where should we look for opportunities to actually build new applications? So that's where an application portfolio management solution comes to play, and that's what we like to highlight, the overall solutions that HP has to provide in this particular space. So as I kind of mentioned before, you really want to tap into an application portfolio management solution that gives you the visibility into being able to really balance and monitor your investments. But at the same time, you want to be able to balance those investments across different dimensions. So here's just some example dimensions that you might use in helping you to determine where should we invest in new application, where should we actually look for opportunities to retire applications, etc. So in this particular example here, we're looking at the overall quality of that application. How well is it supporting the business? Another dimension associated with that is business process coverage. How is it being used by the business across various strategic business process functions or keep the lights on business process functions? As you can see here, there's other dimensions such as vendors and data. You could do security, value, and risk. You can basically use all of those various components to roll up to an overall score in terms of an overall health of your application. So you're highlighting that here in terms of the HP PPM solution, but I can then come up with that overall score. That score can then be used to objectively determine where should we make our next investment, where should we look for opportunities to retire or sunset various applications. So it becomes a very effective tool for executives and managers in making those application investment decisions. So next, I wanted to kind of highlight the broader overall solution for HP's application portfolio management solution. As you can see here off to the right, in managing your applications, and you're probably doing this today, you have some form of governance over those applications. So here we can see that typically, I'm sure most of you have some form of a process that you're managing your applications today. It might be ad hoc, it might be being managed in multiple different solutions. But here from an HP perspective, this whole life cycle of taking those business demands, taking those new ideas from your application teams, and being able to filter those into identification of various initiatives, various proposals, and then go through the life cycle of assessing those, prioritizing those, choosing, evaluating the right particular initiatives, and then being able to actually monitor those through that governance process. So having that visibility is one of the key values here of the HP solution. So I can actually get visibility into my portfolio and start assessing it objectively across multiple dimensions, such as the value, risk, and quality dimensions. Next, what we see is organizations really are today looking at how do I rationalize and determine where should we invest. They're getting hit from their developers and their technology teams, including the enterprise architects, hey, we need to move to the next new platforms. But at the same time, we need to rationalize that versus what we're supporting today and determine where are the right priorities and where are the right decisions in terms of investments. And other couple of key drivers from a governance perspective, and this is actually causing many organizations to utilize HP's application portfolio management solution, is various major events. So mergers and acquisitions is really creating an opportunity for application portfolio management. As you can imagine, two organizations merge together, and then they almost have duplicate applications. So they need to rationalize those applications, get those inventories together, do that ranking and scoring, look at the coverage across business processes, as well as then look at the technologies that are being used and the costs associated with maintaining those applications. And by going through that process, they can make those hard decisions on which applications should be the standard going forward. A couple of our recent projects working with customers that recently went through an overall merger and acquisition. We actually helped them with a very large application roadmap project and initiative, which included the inventory of their applications, the analysis of their application portfolio, and then coming up with a recommended roadmap to help them consolidate and reduce the redundancies caused by the merger with that particular organization. The next thing I wanted to highlight here from a application portfolio management solution perspective is really two different approaches in terms of discovery and getting the information into your portfolio management repository. What we see a lot of organizations at first do is focus on it from a strategic perspective. This way they're able to quickly identify their portfolio and then help executives get visibility into that portfolio from a strategic perspective, and having that high-level information around the quality of their applications and the costs, so they can help them decide based upon various analysis as represented here, where they should invest. And we've seen many organizations starting there. We've seen other organizations that want to look at the solution from an operational perspective. And so they're kind of looking at it from more of a bottoms-up approach. So that's where you can use some of the HP's leading solutions for discovery as well as asset management to bring in the details and your inventory of applications. And that can be used to support the operations, but it also can be used to fill in the gaps from your top-down discovery approach process. So what we're seeing for organizations that are looking for quick time to value is they're looking at the top-down approach. So really going out, interviewing, using their current application inventories, and having those automatically load into the application portfolio management solution via the data load capabilities. And they're able to then begin forward in assessing where should they invest in their applications. So that's a quick time to value. Other organizations really want to leverage the system from an operational perspective, besides from the strategic side, and they want to pull it in from all of their configuration management databases, their CIs, so they can get a full, complete picture of the overall health of their applications versus the top-down view. So both approaches are supported, but just wanted to highlight that there's two different approaches for getting the information in so that you can then have access to that information to make decisions. Next, I want to provide just some brief overview of the different capabilities within the application portfolio management solution. So a couple of things here you're seeing off to the right, and we'll be able to see some of these things in the demonstration, is looking at total cost of ownership of your applications, being able to then assess your applications across those multiple dimensions for consistency purposes, so you can really kind of determine where the outliers and determine and actually the justification you need to make various investment decisions. And then last but not least is the ability to actually do some dynamic modeling, whether you wanted to look at it from a business process perspective or from an application hierarchy perspective, and then be able to filter it even further by looking at what's the cost factor associated with these applications, as well as what's the business process coverage. So we'll be able to highlight how you can dynamically get that type of visibility as you're making those decisions. One example is you might have already targeted an application that you think you want to retire. By having the application portfolio management visibility and the inventory, you're able to do that dynamic modeling to be able to actually assess the upstream and downstream impacts of a particular application, so you would know potential integrations, you would know potential downstream applications that would be affected by replacing or retiring that particular application. And then one of the other main capabilities is focusing in on surveys. So it's really great to collect the information, but what's important is keeping your application portfolio repository up to date. That way, executives and management can have the confidence that they're making decisions based upon the current view of these applications from the business side, as well as the application health. And so having these survey capabilities, you can periodically survey the business as well as survey your application technology owners, thereby getting a constant normalized view of where the application is, the value it's providing the organization to help in those decisions that you need to make in your application investments. One thing to kind of highlight that a little bit further here within the HP solution is I'm able to obviously have my application repository. I then tie that to the various business processes we have in our organization. And then I can start tying those various relationships, downstream, upstream relationships, as well as I could even put high-level server information in here, and I can highlight the different locations or sites where these particular applications might be supported or might be actually installed. So it gives you a lot of different views. I can slice and dice the information so I understand with application number A, I understand how many business processes it's supporting today, which is critical for the business. I also then can understand which particular upstream application is dependent upon, as well as I can see some of the downstream applications that it's feeding information, as well as I can see which organization owns that application, as well as I can also then see the different sites that application is installed on or might be using. So it really gives you that kind of complete visibility across these different relationships to really help with that decision making. Next, as I had mentioned previously, gives you the ability to do some dynamic modeling and filtering to really start to assess your applications and really kind of hone in on where you have high-risk applications, high-cost applications, because those are the applications you probably want to look at for investment enhancement opportunities for the next year. Or those will be the areas you might want to look at. How do we retire this particular application and lower our risk, maybe with newer technology that's less costly to maintain, as a particular example. Here again, by going to new technology, you might be increasing some risk, but it gives you the ability to start balancing that and making that a known decision when you're deciding to make that change. So that's kind of a brief overview of the core capabilities. Also, just to highlight the capabilities here, now that you've got the foundation using HP's application portfolio management solution, one example here is we've built an ICD-10 solution on that platform. So basically, as you're assessing your applications, think about how I can actually assess and track compliance as an example, or I could assess and track security. So basically, within that application repository, I can track how well are we doing in this particular example against ICD-10 compliance, or it might be HIPAA compliance, or it might be other compliance initiatives you might have in your organization. This particular solution that we built is specifically for ICD-10 and healthcare organizations. Next, I wanted to provide just a brief overview of the HP Executive Scorecard. So now that you have an idea of HP's application portfolio management solution and how you can manage that portfolio and determine where you should make your investments to improve the outcomes of the organization, it's also important to understand how can I use that particular solution as well as all the other solutions I might have in my IT organization to roll up and look at overall performance. So it's one thing to look at my overall quality and risk of my applications, but it's probably another thing to couple that with looking at how are we doing at meeting our SLAs, how are we doing at meeting our overall service performance requirements from a key performance indicator perspective. Well, the HP Executive Scorecard gives you that ability to roll up your overall performance, leveraging the platform of APM, but also leveraging any other investments you might have with HP, such as their application lifecycle management solutions or business service management solutions, or any other third-party solution that you might be using to track service levels, as an example. I can aggregate that all here into the Executive Scorecard and get a true picture of the overall health and performance of those applications and how they're serving the business. So I just want to provide a brief overview of the HP Executive Scorecard solution. One thing that's really interesting about this solution is actually can give you this overall IT performance management system. there really isn't a system on the market that really helps in providing this IT performance management. The executive scorecard actually provides that capability. So as you can see here on this particular slide, I can actually have role-based views of overall performance of our IT organization. And that can all then roll up into the overall CIO view, but it can also be supportive here of the VP of Applications. So we mentioned they can kind of look at the health of their portfolio, but they can also then look at the health of their service level performance, system availability, etc. Also, the VP of Operations can track their key performance indicators, what's important to them, how well are they doing at providing their services to the organization. Next, we're looking at the Chief Information Security Officer, as well as we're looking at the PMO, so they can track all those investments we're making to update our applications. Are they on time? Are they on budget? How well are we doing at implementing those new application changes? Also, one other feature in the HP solution here is the ability to actually do financial management, because you wouldn't have a full, complete performance management system without having the financial view. So with the executive scorecard, you actually have the ability then to pull together and get an IT view of your overall budget, as well as your overall actual spend, as well as you're able to actually do cost allocations as well out to the different business units if you're looking to do that. So for an example, if I wanted to look at doing cost allocations, it has an engine here that I can actually support the calculation of those cost allocations by metrics. So it could be by the number of application transactions, it could be by number of the support tickets. I could actually use the engine here to actually calculate costs to support applications. And so that's kind of what I want to highlight here, since our demonstration today is focused on application portfolio management, is to highlight how you can use the scorecard for performance reporting, but also use it for financial reporting. And in this case, you could use it around your application costs, as well as looking at what would be a cost for a particular transaction related to application support, or just a business transaction with your application. So the next thing I wanted to do before we jump into the demonstration is why customers choose HP Application Portfolio Management. Typically, as you'd expect with all of the HP products, their market leadership position. One thing I think that's really important is the integrations. So you have out-of-the-box integrations, say with the executive scorecard, to look at that overall performance, and then be able to look right into your application portfolio as an example. Also, there's some very unique approach. Some of these things I had mentioned previously, but I can manage all my applications in one solution. I can do that dynamic mapping and filtering to help in that decision-making process. Also, for those customers that have the HP PPM solution, you're able to leverage that investment because this application portfolio management solution is natively built on that platform. I can do the automated survey capabilities so that I keep my application inventory up to date. And then it really supports that whole ability to track your overall TCO, as well as it can actually support your development lifecycle. So if you actually wanted to use it to manage your support of applications, you could do that as well. So next, what I wanted to do is to provide just a brief overview of our SaaS solution. We know many customers are looking for ways to get access to great software solutions and do it via the cloud. And we wanted to give a brief overview of our SaaS solution. So in terms of our SaaS solution, a lot of the standard business benefits you would get from a SaaS solution come to play by tapping into our SaaS solution. So really no capital investment required. You can shift that investment to an operating budget. You get quick time to value, so you can get up and running very quickly, and you don't have to focus on the headache of setting up the system internally and working with your team there. And you really have an ability to really have a lowest total cost of ownership, because tapping into the SaaS solution, that includes an automatic upgrade every 12 to 18 months based on when the product goes through an upgrade. Next, from a unique approach perspective. So we have subscription SaaS model where you can pay by term. So this is a great way for organizations that want to get in and want to start managing their portfolio, but they might want to bring it on-premise later, so they could actually select their term and then be able to bring it back in-house. Also, we support organizations that might have had it in-house on-premise, but they're looking for someone to do the hosting for them as their strategy is to move more to the cloud. So we also support organizations that already own the licenses, and they can move those to our SaaS solution. As well as by tapping into our SaaS solution, we give customers access to some of our solutions that we've already built, and some of those will be the compliance solutions or dashboards and reporting as well. So I have a couple of slides here just to give you a brief introduction to our SaaS solution, and then I'll provide a quick demonstration. So the key thing to focus on here from our SaaS solution, based upon your requirements, we can provide a physical dedicated SaaS solution or a shared virtual environment. So obviously different pricing for that, but that gives you the different types of comfort that your organization is looking for. From a data center perspective, we have data centers across North America as well as some in Europe. And they're very secure data centers. You can see here our focus is on giving you the peace of mind that you have a secure data center that has the top security ratings, as you can see here from the SSAE certification, as well as PCI compliant. So we want to give you that type of comfort and protection that you deserve for your data. In terms of our various offerings from a SaaS perspective, as you can see here, we have the Basic, Advanced, Premier, and Premier Plus. And you'll see here the different variations in terms of the different features and functions. Really the difference between Basic and Premier, it gives you different environments. So for the Premier, we give you all three environments, a dev, a test, and a production environment. In Basic, we just give you a dev and a production environment. The difference between Premier and Premier Plus is, also gives you access to the executive scorecard on SaaS. So that's the only big difference between Premier and Premier Plus. So in summary, the Basic APM SaaS offering gives you all of the capabilities of application portfolio management, the ability to do all of your surveys, to do the loading of your data and your application inventory, and all of your dashboard reporting. And it gives you the ability to tap into your production and your dev test environment. So it really gives you that secure, safe place to really start with your overall application portfolio. Next, from a Premier Plus perspective, so this gives you all of the capabilities of APM, extended solutions here in terms of all three environments, as well as the business objects environment, as well as then it gives you access to the executive scorecard capabilities as well as the executive scorecard in a mobile, as highlighted here on the mobile tablet. So that's kind of a brief high-level summary of our SaaS solutions that are available to customers. Next, as I mentioned before, by tapping into our solution, we'll be able to then give you access to compliance. So we have a compliance feature that we've added into application portfolio management, so you could then track various compliance initiatives and really track that against every specific application. So we see that a lot where organizations are looking for a new regulation comes down and they need to see whether or not that particular application is compliant. It's a quick and easy way to monitor and track compliance of your applications. Next, I want to provide a brief example of a SaaS customer using APM. So I think it was a year and a half ago, we worked with a local state government organization, and they had a shared services IT organization, and they were looking for a way to transform their overall IT organization and really modernize their applications. So they had, like typical organizations, they had a sprawling list of applications, and they didn't even know really all of the applications that were in their environment. And so we were able to come in and assist them in that inventory collection process. This is a top-down approach, so for them going through and doing some interviews and then feeding that information into the Excel spreadsheets, and then able to automate that loading into the solution, as well as using our rapid start implementation approach to get them up and running very quickly on the product. So what they were able to see, it was really amazing how they were getting a positive feedback from both business users as well as application users. They were just flabbergasted by getting the visibility into all their applications and actually seeing how those applications map to the different business processes. It was really eye-opening for them, and it was a key input into identifying their next set of transformation and cost savings initiatives. So next I wanted to go in and provide a quick demonstration. So this might time out, so I might need to log back in. But first thing I wanted to do just briefly is to highlight the executive scorecard. And I'm actually here using an emulator, and I'm actually logging in as if I were using this on a tablet. So this is a tablet version of the executive scorecard. It's a streamlined down version for ease of use on the tablet. So there's more capabilities on the desktop version. But you'll see here to the right, you can actually set up your balanced scorecard. You can set up varied goals and objectives and be able to see how you're performing against those particular goals and objectives. Let's say it's going to time out on me here. I might have a few minutes leeway. But I can see here as I change my different goals and objectives, I can then see the change in the terms of the KPIs or key performance indicators that relate to that particular goal and objective. So let's look here at improving customer satisfaction. I can scroll over here and look at all the different types of KPIs. Let's go over here and look at this particular KPI. Yep, that's what I thought it would do that for me. So I'll now log in. So this is how I would log in. This is on the HP Anywhere mobile platform. So it shows me a lot of the different mobile apps that I can have available. In this case, I'll now go in and look at the scorecard. So let's go in and I'm going to go and actually change the particular role. So here I'll just kind of highlight briefly, I'm logged in now, it's a business relationship manager. So in terms of my demo here, let's go look at a couple other roles. Now I'm going to go over here and look at the CIO role. That's where I was viewing the scorecard previously. So now we're back over here to the improved customer satisfaction. So at this particular point, I want to go look at this particular KPI. I can see here that we're at 51.8%. I can see with satisfaction we're declining. I can see here it's in red. So this is probably an area that we really need to focus in on. So I can look at this particular KPI. So it's gonna bring up the information here. Like I said, this is a pseudo emulator here for my actual tablet, so performance is a little different. But it's going to bring up the view here, so I can then see how would we do at meeting this goal of effective end users by application quality. As we know, application quality is definitely a key input into our overall portfolio. What's nice, though, I can see our overall trend. At least we're trending closer to a green state. But I can also then see here all the different applications and how we're trending with those applications. So I can see here that we've got various applications that we're trending down. In this case, it's kept it very simple for demo purposes. Here we're looking at application number 10. I could actually go in and look at that application and say, okay, how have we been doing in terms of performance with this particular application? So here we can see how we've been spiking in terms of the percent of affected end users in terms of application quality. So I can see where that's trending down. Also on my tablet, I could go in here and actually I could communicate with the app's owner. Please review and get back with me on this. So basically, I can use the solution here all on my tablet to do collaboration and share information with the organization. I can also get view into the description of this particular KPI. I can understand the thresholds on what we need to do to actually get it in a green state. So that's a quick overview here, kind of introduction into the overall scorecard. As you can see here, I have a lot of other KPIs that I want to keep front and center from a CIO perspective. And I can see here that I have all my different other set of goals and objectives, and then I can align the various KPIs associated with those. So as mentioning previously, with my application portfolio, I really want to track overall quality and health, but also I might want to have visibility into how well are we doing at managing our mean time to repair, our overall SLAs. Well, I can use the scorecard to actually have that view. And then as we showed before, I could drill down into and look at that particular SLA by application as an example. So here I'm looking at mean time to repair. I can scroll over and look at percent of service performance or SLAs. How are we doing from that perspective? So that's what I wanted to do here in terms of the scorecard. I'll just give you a brief introduction into that particular solution. Next, I want to come over into the application portfolio management solution. So I've logged in here as an APM analyst, and this particular analyst is one that's working with the team. They're analyzing the portfolio. They're helping to give recommendations to the application manager, the VP of application, on where should they look at making investments. So I have a quick view here of all their applications, and they can look at this in terms of the size of the application, in terms of the overall cost of that particular application. They're also able to look at it from a value and quality perspective and kind of see how well the applications are stacking up one against another. Next, I can see here the various transformation proposals, and I can see how all of my applications might be aligned to those various proposals. Next, I can look at my applications and I can track overall cost of ownership, so total cost of ownership of my applications. And I might be able to track the size of my portfolio over time just to see if we're meeting our goals and objectives of reducing our application portfolio. As I mentioned before, some organizations in these recent mergers and acquisitions, they originally had 800 applications, and now they acquire another organization, now they have 1,600 applications. And part of their transformation effort is, how do we get down to 400 applications? That's a huge effort, but that's part of the value you get with the application portfolio management solution. Next, I want to go look at another view that you would get here by utilizing the solution. So this is actually starting to look at my applications against my business processes. So here I'm looking at the overall business processes that we have. I can see the number of applications that are related to those business processes, and then I can see the health of those applications in relation to those business processes. So in this particular case, I can see that we have 3 applications of application health of cautionary, 2 of them are green, and 1 is red for the total of 6 applications for that particular process. So I get a lot of other views here within the solution to help take action as well as to monitor the inputs and the updates to the various applications. So in this case, I can look at applications that have not yet been mapped to a business process. So this was your part of your upfront initiative, so you wanted to really do all of your mapping. I can then have visibility into overall health of my particular applications and be able to track that information as well. The question might come, so what's included in the actual inventory, and what are the attributes that are being tracked that gives me this type of reporting capability? So I can just highlight briefly here with the overall application form. A couple things to highlight that are very unique and differentiators with HP. First is the application entity here is built on a forms and workflow engine. So it's tied to workflow. So you can have a full, complete governance process for your applications. So you could say onboard your applications and go and validate all the data before they actually want to be published and go live. So you can actually use the workflow to manage that governance process. Next is the ability to have a forms engine. So this is looking at the out-of-the-box views. So typical high-level information about your application, the various contacts that would be related to supporting the application as well as the various owners. Then you can get into various other details of your applications as well as the various organizations that own the application. I then can get into all the technical environment of the application. So here I can start tracking upstream, downstream applications. I can start tracking operating systems and databases. This is a key added benefit that I've seen with the application portfolio management. By understanding the programming languages as well as the technologies needed to support your applications, this can then provide a good input into the sizing of your application maintenance and support teams. So you can actually start pulling this information together as you're building a brand new application before it comes online, and then you can use that to help estimate what it's going to take to actually support and maintain those particular applications. So I have budget, I have service and support information in here as well. And then what we have down here at the bottom is a lot of the rating information. So this information here is included in a slightly different format in the various surveys. And so you can do those surveys with your business owners, you can do those surveys with your application and technology owners, and then once you create that survey, then you normalize that data down here into your rating, and that way you keep the information accurate and current as you're monitoring and managing your application portfolio. So the next thing I wanted to highlight was the analysis and the dynamic modeling capability. And this will kind of be the last thing I'll do here in terms of a demonstration perspective. So here with my modeling capability, I can actually go in here and select a set of applications that I want to analyze. In this particular scenario, I'm going to pick a set of financial applications. So it's going to bring in my financial set of applications. And so I'm going to see and they all kind of look the same at this point. So I'm not getting a lot of value at this point. But then I might want to come over and say, you know what, I want to now look at the upstream and downstream relationships of all my financial applications. So just by having this type of view is invaluable for the organization, say if you're going through a big compliance initiative. So if you're going through a big compliance initiative and you know that you've got to update certain particular applications, that's actually an attribute you could add. I could add a filter and I could actually have it show a color and show which particular applications are going to be impacted by that compliance initiative. So let's go and actually look at some other types of attributes that I can tie to this financial application grouping here. So I can come in here and say I wanted to go look at the overall application score of the particular applications, and then let's say I wanted to go look at the overall risk. So it's going to apply different colors here to my actual application. And so you can see how I can dynamically change to really understand what are the impacts. So what I can see here, first of all, is I can see the largest score, and I can see the ones that are the high risk. And so if I also wanted to go filter it on from a compliance perspective, it would quickly tell me which one's going to cost me the most money, which one's the high risk, and that would help me in my assessment of our particular proposal or initiative that we want to plan and estimate for that compliance remediation effort. So just wanted to provide that kind of quick and easy overview of the application portfolio management solution. Next, Tonya, I don't know if you're still able to speak, but did you want to highlight anything about sources of information where they can go to get information on the HP portfolio management solution?
So here, if you can copy down this long email or long URL, there's some information on the application portfolio management module that Jon's been talking about, and some data sheets, and I believe a demo, and also the software community where you can get additional information. We do have a blog and a Twitter account that you may want to follow so that you're made aware of webinars like this one, or we have one coming in March to announce our latest release. I don't have that information on this slide, but if you need it, just email me. It's Tonya@hp.com, so TONYA@hp.com, and I'll send you the information so you can get signed up and then get notified of the of webinars and such events.
Great. Thanks so much, Tonya. Appreciate it. Also, as Tonya mentioned, if you go to that homepage, there's a very short demo on there as well of the product. Next, just to kind of highlight some of the upcoming ResultsPositive application events. So in February, we've got 3 events. One's for Agile development with the HP Agile Manager solution. Next one is the mobile functional performance testing. And then we have performance testing in the cloud, which is our SaaS solution. And that's for organizations that are looking forward to do 1 or 2 days of performance testing leveraging HP's leading load runner solution. So it's a very cost-effective way to get access to that solution. Then in March, we have integrated developer and testing solutions. So highlighting how developers can basically get access to all the defects and requirements in their IDE and natively to their development solutions such as Eclipse, while then getting all of the ALM or QC requirements or defects being displayed all in that same view. Next, we'll be highlighting accelerating manual testing with HP Sprinter. And then there in March, we'll also be talking about the application deployment automation solution. So for organizations that have many different releases and are looking for ways to have that continuous delivery kind of tied into the Agile approach, that will be in March as well. And as you can see here, you can follow us on the different social media handles and websites as well.